Hello, and welcome to my Tell Your Story. So to start out, my journey here at BSU has been something that I am personally extremely proud of. I started off at age 24, just coming out of a 6-year enlistment of the active duty military, and I knew going into it that I would struggle. I've had some schooling experience during my time in the military, but nothing ever akin to that of something like BSU. Um, I kind of went against the words of my advisor, and I ended up taking a full schedule my very first semester. And I knew going into it I would definitely struggle, and struggle I definitely did, as I had plenty of weaknesses going into it. The first and most prominent one would definitely be just my overall writing skills. I've never been a proficient writer throughout my entire life. And that really showed in BSU. In your first semesters, you take like English 101, English 102, and those were probably some of the more difficult classes I took throughout my entire educational journey. Um, it took a lot of effort and like working with professors, and it still was just not clicking for me. On the other side of this, that made it an even worse of an issue was I didn't really have the best concentration to begin with. I could really only study or like read an article or anything of that sort for a half hour at a time. And even then it was just like my brain was hurting, and I couldn't like physically get myself to like understand the material no matter how many times I read it. So that took a lot of like practice and repetition, and eventually it did get better. But it took a lot of time and really talking to my professors and figuring out different ways that made them work. And then also I was constantly uncomfortable those first couple semesters, and even still up until more recent semesters, but even less so. There's always new challenges that come with being a student here at BSU. You have different professors, different classes, everything. It feels so fast paced in hindsight, but it takes forever when you're in it. And there's been plenty of like long nights where I've just had to stay up and just do homework. And a lot of them were lonely and don't really have anyone there to talk to, and you're doing your homework, studying, and doing the best you can to make it through. And inevitably I did. And that kind of brings me to where we are today. I've been able to develop a few skills and ideas that I have throughout the years, and taking the ideas that the professors have given me and really like shape them into my own. As I've kind of touched on, I had a massive improvement of my writing skills. As I've entered my last semester now, I can work out a paper that's 400 to 600 words in length in 15 to 20 minutes, depending on what the topic is, versus when that used to take me 2 to 3 hours to do something of that length. It's a stark difference in just like the time required. Additionally, I've also just gained better study habits. I've understood just how my brain works and how I process information. And touching back on the concentration thing, I can now like read an article or like just concentrate on studying for multiple hours at a time if I need to. I'm also just able to identify when I need breaks. I think one of the hardest things is, as students, we just want to get it done, just get it done with. But if your brain is to a point where it's like, well, stop, you're not going to learn anything, then you just need to accept that and just realize that, hey, if I'm not retaining this information, then there's no point to me studying now. And then the final piece is really just getting the adequate amount of sleep. No matter how late I stayed up, I always try to make sure I got at least 8 hours of sleep, because I've realized that how important sleep is. I just remember in my first semesters feeling so dreadfully groggy every morning, and it would just turn into like this vicious cycle until finally it just dawned on me. I just need to sleep. And so I did, and that made a massive difference in my overall practice and how I was able to conduct myself in a day-to-day, attending classes and conducting or doing homework at the end of the night. And then finally, it's the newfound knowledge that I've had. There's so many different courses that I've had to take throughout my degree plan, ranging from like English to philosophy to leadership, conflict management, university foundational skills. Every single one of these has like culminated into be this really like beautiful ball of just knowledge that I've been able to get that just cover a variety of different situations, and I feel so much well versed in all these a variety of topics, and it's given me a lot of confidence. And finally, the biggest thing that's come from this is being comfortable with being uncomfortable. As I said, I was uncomfortable, and I still kind of am, but in a weird way, I'm comfortable with that uncomfortable feeling. That's, I understand now that it's just par for the course. School is never meant to be easy. You're never meant to like walk into college and get it on day one because you would be a brainiac, you'd be Albert Einstein. But once you understand that it's being uncomfortable is just part of the process, and everyone around you is feeling that same way, then it makes it just that much easier to work through. Finally, pointing my gaze towards the future and seeing myself 5 to 10 years from now, I've progressed through grad school. I've gotten my master's degree. I am extremely proud of the accomplishments that I have. I'm extremely successful in my career, in whatever that may be. I'm not really exactly sure what direction I'm heading in life, but I definitely have a much better idea thanks to like my time here at BSU. And I know that no matter what obstacle kind of comes my way, that I'll successfully be able to tackle it, and be able to work through whatever the problem is through some of the skills I've gained, like the different study skills, dedication. All that hard work has really paid off. And ultimately, this culminates into the dream I hold of having a meaningful impact on those around me. I think that's the biggest piece I would want someone to take away from this is, I've realized just how important education is, and how like I want to have an impact on those around me. And I've seen how the professors have impacted me, and I want to impart some of that impact into other people. And I can really only equate my success, eventual success, to my time and journey here at BSU. It really has been an honor to work through all of these different courses and with all these different professors, even with the students. Everyone has been awesome and treated everyone with the utmost respect, and I'll be eternally grateful of my time here at BSU.